Hello and welcome everyone to today's free coaching. This is an open coaching for all the Team Bass Poker family members. So today we will do um, a kind of specific topic that is not used by a lot of players, and a lot of players underestimate it and also doesn't know that it's might think that it's not a standard play, which is river block bet. So today we'll show you um, like the block bets in in the GTO, how they are perceived from the GTO side. Then we will show you like the recreationals and regular tendencies, how they are reacting to the block bets. And after that, we'll try uh, to implement those tendencies to the GTO solution. So we'll do some kind of node lock using the GTO wizard AI, and we'll try to see how actually GTO will play in the with the tendencies population are playing. And then we'll sum it up with a conclusion, and of course we'll turn to the Q&A. Referring to the Q&A, you can post all your questions in the chat. You have the possibility to unmute yourself and talk as well. So this is you can ask during the session and of course during the last Q&A. So this shouldn't be a problem. All right, so before we start, I want to welcome you to the TVP family. We are a poker school that is offering coaching to the public. Everyone is welcome, so you don't need any kind of contract stacking or whatever kind of standard, quote unquote, standard things that is going on nowadays in the market. And with this, you will have possibility to join us, of course, for free, like having those kind of coaching plus free video pack and the free Discord with a lot of stuff going on, plus the possibility to test our TVP membership, and of course you can join it. All right, so let's start with the introduction to the block bet. So what is a block bet in general and in theory? So block bet is a small bet used for balancing our value and protection in specific scenarios. So this this block bet will be used by GTO to use a very wide range and start betting profitably. So this is the GTO side. This is how GTO see it. So it gives you the opportunity to play a very wide range because the sizing is very small. So we don't need it to work that much. So it gives us the possibility to play a very wide range and also give a lot of hands to be profitable by betting with such a sizing. Ourselves, we use the block bets as a thin value bet to maximize value from hands that can in position easily check back. But if we are betting such a small bet, they are still calling us. We'll see different other scenarios I will explain later on. That we can also use for sometimes for bluff or for protection when we are having a hand that is kind of afraid to face a big bet. So when we are having a hand that is in the middle, so it's not like a super strong hand or like an easy bluff catch hand, but we are not in position to check fold it. We want to get it to the showdown. So this is another scenario where we are using the block bets. So to picture this, I picked for you this spot. So here we are having a situation that is a three-way button versus big blind, 18 big blind deep. So 18 big blind deep, we are at the big blind. The opponent is at the button. He did min raise. We are at the big blind. We did call. There is a flop, queen 9-6. That's coming in. We are going to check. So far, very standard. The button is going to c-bet. I mean, here like GTO is kind of splitting the sizing, which isn't the topic of today, of course, but let's say he's c-betting the standard sizing, or like a kind of sizing that's a lot of players will use, which is very small sizing, and we are check calling. Again, the range, we will not talk about this. We are just looking here at the GTO, at the theory, to explain and show you the kind of block bets, how they are used. So we'll just expect that both players are kind of playing a correct strategy and the correct ranges. So here we are calling at the big blind. There is a turn that is kind of brick. It's a deuce. Didn't change something. We are at the big blind. We are checking 100% of our range, and then button is having the possibility of checking or betting. So here he is going by like between two decisions. So 50% he's checking, 50% he's c-betting, and he's picking a very wide sizing, very large sizing, which is 85%, just to set up basically a proper SPR to the river. So here we are, the button is going to c-bet 85%, and we have the decision at the big blind, call in or fold in. Of course, like here we have the possibility, of course, to raise it, but let's not go into that tree. We are going to call it, which will leave us with a small stack, which is 9.5 big blind and a huge pot. So here on the river, we are going for a 4 that isn't improving bottom range and kind of not giving us a huge range advantage. And not giving us a kind of like quote unquote the idea of going for a donk bet, right? Or like the block bet, as we are going to call them here, because I think most of you will never, or not never, but not go into the thinking of using a bet here. Of course, like sometimes against the recreational, I don't know, for whatever reason, we have 3-5, right? And we hit a straight, or sometimes even against regulars, and then you know that he's not going to bet a lot. You are going maybe for a donk bet with an all-in just to get the maximum value, or like for something with something like a queen 4 or whatever. So those kind of scenarios might happen, but I'm talking here about the real block bet, the thin and very small bets that we are going to use here. So here the 4 is coming to the 3, and this is like a GTO 3, not I didn't any kind of node lock to it at the moment. And you will see that the solver is actually going for a block bet on this river card with 11%. So with 11% sizing at 35% frequency. And I kind of, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, or like, let me know if someone is ever first donking in this situation, or using this kind of sizing. Maybe some of you. Andy, are you ever donking this river here?
Yes.
Of course, at 11% with 35% frequency.
100%, right? Yes. I like it. I think there's plenty of combinations which we can get value from, which opponent might check back. So we want to bet a decent size here just to maximize as much as we can from
Yep.
random combinations without overcommitting ourselves. It would very much be a bet fold for me on the river.
All right.
I doubt I'd do it specifically 11% of the time. However, this would feel quite a natural one for myself. I'm sure I missed plenty of other ones. I like it.
Yeah.
I would maybe be inclined with just to maybe slightly go a little bit bigger. Not too much, but Winamax, for example,
Yeah.
we could probably achieve more value than 11%, in my opinion, from like
Okay.
a wide enough calling range. So maybe
course.
like 20, 25%, close to 30% sizing, maybe for myself.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. If you are doing this in a kind of exploitative play, so like you are doing it basically with the kind of block bet, not the GTO we talked about, like that is kind of balanced, and you that gives you the possibility to bluff plus plus value. So this kind of block bets, but basically just the thin value bet and slash the protection. But like this is 11%, this is too big blind. Like 20% or 25% will be something around 4 and 5. We are at 9.5, so it's actually like going very, very shallow and like giving you some kind of ridiculous odds when you are doing it that way. So that's why and this is the very interesting part, like you touched on it, is the 11%. Like that GTO is actually picking such a very, very small sizing, even though like the SPR will be kind of huge. We are already at 17.5. So if we are betting two big blind, the pot is 19. The opponent is shoving like 9. We need to call 7 for a huge pot. So this is this is already ridiculous, but still GTO is using it, and this is the main point of this demonstration here, is to show you that sometimes those kind of plays that might look sometimes out of line or like not usual, not logic, they are even GTO approved. So going for a very, very small small block bet, two big blind into a pot of 17 with not only 10% or like 20% of our range, but it's actually 35% of our range. And we can here have a look quickly, like you can see some missed draw, like some 7-8, some 10 jack. He's picking those as a bet, and it's a very, very small bet. So it's like our opponents sometimes might even think of calling with ace high because of the ridiculous odds he's going to have. But still, GTO is doing it because it gives him the opportunity to do it with a third pair. So some kind of 6x that we did check our flop and turn and go into the river, we want to block bet it. Second pair as well, and of course some of our top range, which are the two pairs here. So of course, like we will not end up having a straight, so we don't have 3-5 in our range. But our best hands here are the two pairs. Like the queen 9, he's not picking it, so this one is going to the check to balance like our checker range. It's our top range, but he's still doing it with queen 6, as you can see here, and it's almost at 100% frequency, and some 6 deuce here and queen deuce here and there. So you can see that GTO is going with this one sizing with his whole range, combining like no made hand and hands that are very weak, like the third pair and some of our second pair, and also it gives him the opportunity to get some value for his two pairs. So this is how he's constructing his range, and this is where the beauty of this play comes, is that we can use it with a very I mean, this is not a very wide range. I will get to this point in a moment, but it's still in the GTO maybe frequency is still a wide range. So now I want to ask you a question. So this, I mean, we already went over this and show you the situation, but with this block bet, with this two big blinds, because the question that is coming in, and I mentioned one part of it, is that the pot odds is getting ridiculous, that a lot of players might just go and call us with some kind of ace high type of hands. But the question that a lot of players are asking is that it's obvious will get raised. So, oops. Yeah. All right. We are at the right slide. All right. We are going to get raised because it's very obvious, and our opponent will see it, and so on and so forth. So we will see how the population actually reacts to block bets using the range research. But now the interesting part is that when we are using this, or not we, but the GTO is using this two big blind block bet, which kind of raise frequency do you expect against it? So when you are when the GTO is going to do this block bets at the big blind with two big blind bets, how much or at which frequency you expect the GTO to raise against it? And this is a question to everyone. I mean, you can unmute yourself, talk, you can write it in the chat. Both options are fine. I will give you maybe 1 minute to do this. 20% saying, yeah. 20%, that's fine. I guess this is kind of tendencies frequency. Someone else, 30% plus. Gumball is saying 12.7, 40%, 20, 30%, two pair plus some bluffs. At least all the top pairs plus, so combine with bluffs, it should be quite high. 50% Vince is saying. I'm actually very often bluffing here. That's nice. I mean, maybe nice depending on the pool tendency, but if you look at it the theory wise, you should be careful because we clearly see that it's not only bluff. So we saw it here, like he can have some queen nine, he can have some queen six, queen deuce, some third pair, second pair. So he's having what to bluff catch with. And again, if you are doing it against a 3-4 big blind, like people use a block bet and then find themselves committed and starts calling you down with the third pair. So you still need to be careful. All right, so let's have a look here. And ace nine, what's happening here? This is weird. Okay, let's let's have a look at so we are here, we are betting two big blinds, and the button here is actually calling 24%, folding only 14%, and raising all in 61%. Ace nine plus, I think in value, I think people don't usually block bet right with value hands, and they just put a lot of chips to the pot. Yeah, I mean, like depending on the limits you are playing. If you are playing some kind of low mid limits, can be right. People nowadays all are using GTO Wizard. Like the more and more they are getting into the theory, into the kind of knowing the principle, and you can see some players with good GTO theory level playing 5s or 10s, but with very low exploit level. And this is what we are trying to teach, what we are trying to learn ourselves, is how to exploit the theory. So people, especially people that are going toward the theory, how you can exploit this, and how you can maximize this. All right, so let's get back to this point here. So GTO is raising back 61%. And if we look here at some no-made hand, he's still doing it. He's still doing it with some king high, ace high, some low pair, and basically a big part of his range. So he's calling, and he's even calling with king high. So you can see king 10, king jack, queen jack, king jack, king 10 suited, even some queen 8, some king 5 here. So basically just an air type hands with a king high and some ace high as well. And just because it's the sizing who decide this. We are facing a 2 big blind bet. We don't need to be right that often, and therefore, for example, he's calling with ace jack, ace 10 all the time. It's an ace high, and you are at the break even. Just because if he starts folding those combos, what will happen is that the player in front of him, it's GTO, so it's theory versus theory. As soon as you are not balanced, what the player in front of you will do, he will start exploiting you. And that's why he still need to call those break-even hands and those very, very marginal hands. So knowing this, knowing that a 14% fold equity, a 61% raising range does still allow the solver to go for a 2 big blind bet with his missed draw, because it's just very cheap, and it allows us, and it allows the solver to still generate some fold, generate some EV, and get us into the right play. And you can see here, for example, like with this 2 big blind, even having only 14% fold equity, it's still generating us how much was it, like 0.48 big blind per 100, which is a very, 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 very nice EV. Sometimes you are having some 3-barrel bluffs with your whole stat that is generating you 0.2, 0.3, and people are saying that it's awesome, it's great, and we should take it. So with such a small block bet, we are generating 0.50 here, and we should take it. So this is the block bet, GTO approved, and like just to show you that the answer, or like the answer with the question, what should I do versus an all-in, or like I can do this because I'm facing an all-in, people are not overfolding, all those kind of stuff. Like this should be normal. Like if you are having it here, GTO wise, GTO is raising you 61%, folding only 14%, still going for the block bet with a bluff, with a third pair, and that's definitely fine. Can you show the block bet call versus all-in combination we have? Yes, of course. So here we are going for the button is going for an all-in, and here, like of course, no made hand is a clear fold. Third pair is a clear fold here. Second pair is folding some and calling some, and this is against the 61% raising. So we already saw how he's raising, and we saw that some no mid hand, even some king high, ace high, are raising, and same for the low pair. That's why second pair is an easy here. I mean, not an easy call, because it's still marginal. Sorry, not this one. Like a 10-9, for example, is just break even. Again, same as we said about the button. If he starts folding, the big blind will start exploiting him. It's the same here. If he starts overfolding those 10-9, jack-9, like the button will just start shoving everything. Yeah, it defends the minimum defense frequency. That's clear. this is the all-in, just to not get exploited. I mean, this is GTO and this is how it should be. But again, like you see here, like third pair, it's not even close. It's an easy fold. Second pair, it's a call, but it's not like printing. So 10-8 here, which is the best combo here to snap call, is just 0.17. King 9 is 0.02, basically almost break even, which in practice I wouldn't recommend to do. We'll see it in a moment how actually they are raising and why we shouldn't defend that way. Adapting it to real life situation, if we decide to bet bigger on the river as an exploit versus opponent, naturally we will then have more fold versus all in, right? Sounds weird, but AI ranges should be much stronger. All in ranges. Okay, but all in ranges should be, yes, exactly, of course. If we are looking into the ranges in reality, those will be way stronger. And this is my point here by not calling the second pair, is that it will, as soon as I see something like this in terms of EV, it's clear that it will not be the reality, because people under bluff always, and therefore this kind of thin EV will disappear very, very quickly, and it can become very, very minus EV. All right, let's get into it and see some tendencies here. So what I did for you here is prepare the recreational tendencies and regular tendencies against block bet. So I made the bets on the river and saw how population are reacting to it. So here in front of you, you have a range research that is made on all players that have 100 hands and less, that will be included in this research here, and you have all players against whom I did a bet on the river. They did fold 51%, they did call 39%, and they did raise versus river bet 13%. Of course, we will focus on this part here. That is very, very important and will be a game changer here for us in our strategy, because it's and actually this is the part that everyone is afraid of. How you actually got those data? How can I get this? This is just like I'm just collecting all the hands that I did play when I'm doing some kind of range research or like trying to find new exploits, new strategies. I get my overall data that is played all the years for, across all the limits, and looking, especially if we are doing it against recreational, because recreational is the same across all limits, and just do it in the range research. It's a little bit advanced, especially if you are trying to get some kind of specific stuff to analyze. And I would recommend to just be in a group with someone that is doing them, or like into our TPP membership. We are doing those kind of things very frequently, and yeah, like it should be very time consuming for you to do it yourself. But of course, if you want to learn it and if you can do it, definitely go for it, because this will have a lot of value. But just try to focus on how to maximize it. So on the left here, you have the panel for fold versus river bet, and we are going to focus here basically on the bet sizing. So how much they are folding to each bet sizing. So when we did use an overbet, they did fold 73% of the time. When we did use pot bets, 67%. Here it's basically 75%. It's 63%. Then around 66%. They are folding 57%. With the half pot bet, they are folding 50% of the time. And here, this is like in my standard sizing, this would be 33%. They are folding 40%. And the underbet can be something between 15% to 25%. I mean, sometimes I can get super tricky and use the 1 BB sizing in some kind of spot, which can be 10% or something like, or 15% here and there. But yeah, like something around those lines. And you can see that the underbet is 28%. So again, and this is for your question, like, because interpreting those kind of stats can also be hard, because if you come and see fold versus river bet 51%, you will say, yeah, fine, just go and bet. But then how much they are folding, and again, Swiss sizing, which sizing is profitable, which hands they are using, or which hand should we use, and so on and so forth. So there are lots of questions, there are lots of dynamics that are kind of hard to interpret here. So if we are talking about block bets, we are going to focus here at 28%. So this is 28%. This is the fold we are getting when we use an underbet. The next one here is the call versus river bet. So the call versus river bet, same here, depending on the sizing, and we are going to focus on the 53%. So 53% calls against our underbets, so they are not overfolding, and they are not over raising, they are over calling, basically. I mean, not over calling, because if we talk about underbets, let's say we are using even 25%, we need only 20% hold equity. So the 28 is already more than 20%, and the underbets will be maybe 15%, maybe 10%. So this is definitely a good number here to use as a kind of exploit. So if we say that underbets, they are folding 28%, they are calling 52%, so it gives us a total of 81%, if my maths aren't that bad. Yeah, I think 81%, which come to a conclusion, because here, if you look at the pop-up, raise versus river bet is 13%. It's showing you the raises, but it doesn't show you at which frequency they are raising against which sizing. And to do this, you combine those two, so the call against underbet, the fold against underbet, and then you have the raise versus river bet. So the raise versus river bet, actually, in terms of the stats in itself, if we look at 13, the average stat here, they are raising more against our block bet, but not as much as we might think, or not as much as we are afraid to face. Because when we are talking about block bet, it's a very small bet. It's a bet that we are going to use sometimes for bluff, sometimes for value, sometimes for protection, as we saw in the first slide. And it's a very small bet that doesn't need to get worried about, because we saw it, even GTO is bluffing his air-type hands with how much was it, 11% sizing, knowing that the player in front of him will raise him 60% plus. So this is why we should not worry that much. And if we look, why I did put here this one here, the raises, if we put this one and look at it, you can see this kind of pink color, maybe, or like something between a pink and orange, is 2 pair plus. So what they are raising with is basically two pair plus, and here very small numbers. You can see the hands that are actually weak, and weak. We are adding even the the weak pairs. So weak pairs are considered as well as weak. And here you can see 7%, 6%, 6%, 12%, 9%, 10%, 5%. So very, very small sizing, small frequency of bluffs, and very big frequency of top range. And also like even a top pair here is at a small frequency. So basically they are putting their top pair, middle pair, low pair, some kind of weak hands here into the calling range, and not putting a lot of bluffs, because bluffs then goes to the 28% fold frequency. These stats are only when we are facing a second barrel and block bets on the river, or also when we are probing river after check turn. This is a bad river overall, because when we are talking about block bets, we can use them not only after facing a second barrel, or a bet on the flop, or a bet on the turn, or whatever situation. It's not fixed to a situation. Block bets can be used in whatever situation. That's why when I did this range research, I did it on river bets overall, to see how actually population are reacting to block bets in the overall scenario. So not only face, because if you are doing it for 3 barrels, for example, let's say button versus big blind, you will have some sample, but you will not have enough situations. Same for the heads up. I mean, like the river is already a street that isn't happening that often, and also you will not have enough showdowns to know which kind of ranges. But the block bet is a play that you can use basically everywhere, and that's why you can that's why we put here just the river bet in itself and how they are reacting to it. So how they are folding to river bet, call versus river bet, and then raise versus river bet. And we focused on the under bets. This will be our, I mean, like Andy mentioned, like you can we can sometimes use the 25-33% bet as a block bet as well, which is definitely fine. And actually here you are having more fold frequency and more call and very low raises. So the raises here will be, instead of 19%, will be just 14%, which is definitely fine. So this is for the recreational, and you can see a big part of the overbet generates more fold than all-in. Of course, overbet isn't like an all-in isn't always a big bet. So the all-in can be sometimes 50%, can be 66%, can be 75%, depending on the pot. So the all-in isn't necessarily a big bet. And that's why the overbet is generating more folds. All right, here we have the regular tendencies. So how they are reacting to river bets as well. In the range research, I did all the players with 50 hands plus in the analysis. So all players in my database that are having 50 hands and more were included here. And we can see that overall they are folding to river bets 53%, calling 38%, raising 12%. Again, we'll focus basically on the folds against underbets, and funnily enough, here you can see that regulars are actually overfolding 38% to the block bets. They are calling 48%, and if we combine again those two, we'll come up to a total of 86, which leave us with a raise of 14%. So this gives us the conclusion that actually, because we know recreational, they are sticky and they can be even more random than regulars, especially on the river, and therefore we come up to those kind of numbers. So the recreational are playing even better than the regulars are against block bets. So they against regulars, it will work even more, and you are having or like facing even less less protection, less reactions, less less raises. So this because this is what when I'm doing some kind of one-on-ones and I recommend a block bet. First thing that is the student is saying, yeah, but I will get raised. All right, then we pick the range research, we do it, I show the numbers, and then because just saying it without showing the numbers is never enough, because you need to show the player why he should do this. And that's why it's very important to show those kind of range research, those kind of data or numbers to the players, or to every poker player, to that he can feel confident of the play he is doing. So you can see here that actually like regulars aren't raising, and when they are raising only with real top hands. So it's even more than the recreational. So you can see here like 2 pair plus, they are still raising with some kind of weak hands here, and the regulars, they are even less raising. Block bets the reg like maniac, but seems to stick to the feeling I have against my own regs. Yeah, I mean, like this is what I was talking about the feeling. Like the feeling is very good, but then it's very good to if you can confirm it with data. Knowing this information as well lets you make such easy decision versus raises. We know the frequency of raising is so small, so we have plenty of easy faults. Very good, very well said. Don't get married to the hand because you did block bets and you are thinking they will bluff you. You have the data, you did the exploits, stop at it. Because if you start calling down a third pair, a fourth pair, because at a moment you thought, oh wait, this guy will bluff me, then you will just hurt your exploit, you will hurt your win rate. So you should stop at it. Quite often players value on themselves bet calling on the river from inaccurate assumptions. This is why range research and this kind of topics are very good. Yeah, I agree. So very important when you are building a kind of play or a kind of exploit based on population tendencies, on the numbers, don't get out of it. And this is like, for example, as the limp c-bet, for example, I keep repeating it to people because they do the exploit and they start barreling the turn. So the turn, to make folds, you need to barrel with a big sizing. You need to use 3 big blinds, and this hurts actually 3 limp c-bets, because a limp c-bet is invest in 1 big blind the flop. If it didn't work, go to the next spot. If you start doing it random at the turn with a 3 big blind, you will need 3 spots of limp c-bet, even more, because the limp c-bet isn't generating you 1 big blind. So the limp c-bet, you will need to do it not only one to recover this missed EV, but a lot of times, because the exploit in itself, it uses a small sizing. When you start doing something else, knowing that population are overfolding or not over bluffing, this is where you hurt your win rates, and this is the very bad part of the scenario. And this is where a lot of players are losing a lot of EV. Should we play face up and split our range between small block bets with no made hand because overfold, and medium block bet with value hand because underrated. Yes, very good point here. I would definitely recommend this until you are playing hundreds or maybe 50s, but I would say just playing against some players that will see your tendency, because we are doing range research and we don't get enough data sometimes. I need to collect like a few years of play to get enough data about the river. So what the population, or like what the players against you need to do to know those kind of tendency is to play against you a lot of hands. So if the player doesn't have on you 15k 20k hands or something like this, he will not get your tendencies on the river, and therefore you can definitely split the sizing and use it very exploitative and even more against the recreational. So if you did improve on the river to a straight, for example, you know that he's not going to bet, you go for a shove or a big bet. If you have a hand that needs protection, you want to use a block bet, you go for a 20% sizing, 15% sizing. This is definitely fine. All right, let's get to the last part and trying to do some kind of node log. Before we get to it, question to you: what will happen to our quote unquote block bets frequency if we give to the solver the population tendency? So if, like in the scenarios we saw before, that GTO is block betting with 30%, something around 30% frequency. If we are giving to the opponents this kind of tendency, so like something, I mean, this is a little bit extreme, like the reg tendencies are a little bit extreme, but let's say something around this: 28% fold, 53% call, and 19% raise against our block bets. What do you think will happen to the block bets, and at which frequency we will use it? So I will give you a few seconds to answer and read the question here. These data shows best bluff is just under best river, so I can use even when I go big turn and river small. Yes, of course. You like, this is something that can be used all over the place. Small sizing for bluffs, big sizing for value. This is like the kind of Bible for betting, especially against recreational. And same for the strength of your hand. So you can definitely start using this. Catalin saying 70% of block bet frequency like 55%, 60% with split sizing is my guess. Yeah, let's then have a look here. So we don't have enough time, and I expected this, so I did prepare it. And what I did is I didn't went too extreme. So because like sometimes you if you are going as extreme as the stats, you will have just very beautiful strategy, or like some kind of very clear exploit. And we like in our approach, we like to do it in a little bit less extreme, that if it's showing us a kind of exploit, it means that it will generate us even more EV if we are doing it against the actual tendency. So here we have 28, 53, 19%. What I did here is 20% fold instead of 28, 45% call instead of 50, whatever it was, and here raises at 35, because we have 19 raises. I did put it in 35, and you can see here that like the solver is still doing it kind of not 100% random, and still going top range here with value, and still calling some hands here and there. So what here with with this stat, it will take 100% block strategy, 175% block bet incoming. Yeah, let's have a look. Yeah, actually, like, it went super exploitative, 100%. I mean, like, block betting with kinda, I mean, that's why I put it in quote unquote, because I didn't node lock all the bet sizing, so I didn't make the right reaction against 35% against all in. So I did node lock only this part, and this is what something, if you are using the AI, this is something you will or like any kind of solver and trying to node lock, this is what you will see if you have multiple sizing, multiple decision, and you are going off in 1 against 1. So the reaction of opponent is going off only against 1 sizing. You will see that almost all our range will go to this sizing, because this is where the exploit is happening, and this is what we want to do. So you can see here that it went for a block bet with almost all our range, and it starts bluffing here with an all-in Jack 10, just because it's still a solver, so he still want to be balanced. I still want to get value from those, because if he wants call from an all-in with those hands, again, I didn't node lock the all-in. It just needs to put a bluff in, but other than that, it's going 100% with the block bets. So using all low pair, all third pair, all second pair as a block bet is the strategy that he is picking. And again, this is against 35% raises, 45% call, and only 20% folding frequency. And we saw that even regulars are doing more than that, and that's why you should not be afraid of using block bets. All right, so yeah, let's do a little sum up here. So here in the GTO area, so it's balanced. The block bet is a move that is used with a small sizing, so that gives us the possibility to balance our value protection and also some bluffs with a very wide range. So the river block bets also allows us to use super wide range that opponents like they just can't start raising. I mean, even GTO raising with 60% plus against our block bet doesn't stop us from using this block bet with 30% plus, and I'm pretty sure that's close to 90% of the players, if not more, are not using the block bet at 30%, especially in this scenario. Thin value bet extraction. So this is what the main goal of our strategy. We don't face a lot of raises in front of us. We face a lot of calls, and that's why we need to get thin value bets. So this is combining all type of hands. So if it's middle pair, low pair, under pair, whatever hand that you think you still can get value out of it, but player will just check back, go for it. The hands that needs protection, we are going for the block bet as well, minimizing the risk. So when we expect the opposite, when you expect the opponent to bet big, we have a hand that wants to get to the showdown, doesn't really want to call against a big bet. This is where we are going for a block bet. Yeah, like here we are exploiting our opponent. So those opponents that are not adapting against block bets, and again, this will be everyone, so recreational and regular, allow us to exploit them quite hard, and you can easily go for the block bets as a pure exploit play against regulars and against recreational to exploit those kind of dynamics. All right, so yeah, we made the round. Before we go to the Q&A, I invite everyone to also check our video packs. I mean, we are doing those kind of range research, those kind of population tendency to try to find the max EV lines, how we can extract the maximum EV out of our opponent, either if it's recreational or regular. So you depending on what you need, you will find this in our library. So just check our video packs, and you can pick the pack that you will need to maximize your win rate. Right, yeah, let me have a look here. It would be interesting to lock the big blind exploitative strategy and unlock the opponent strategy to check if villain can counter exploit as easily. Yeah, like unfortunately we don't have enough time with the, but this can be done easily in the solver. But yeah, like of course it will counter exploit you very hard, because we are going for a strategy that is very exploitative, that is going 100%, and this is a strategy that is easy to exploit. So we are not going to do it as extreme as the solver, but the purpose of this was to show you that we can easily go for the block bet. We shouldn't be afraid, because if we use population tendencies, the solver is going super extreme, and that's why we should use it. In which product are more data? Yeah, like you have the art. This is the video pack that is using data of regulars in different board texture, showing you how to play against in each board texture, and trying to exploit the regulars, still using the right frequency. And then you have the squeeze the fish like element that is using the data of recreational, but in showing you how to exploit each type of recreational. So there is the passive recreational, the tight recreational, the aggressive recreational, so on and so forth. So each type of recreational showing a lot of data, and then how to exploit them. But all our video packs are against are based on population tendency and how to exploit them. So there is you will not find some kind of video pack that is just showing you GTO or like browsing the solver or whatever. Block bet actually means only out of position. Yeah, it's the block bet. It's out of position. Like you have thin value bet in position as well. So this is another topic, but I mean you cannot say block bet, because block is blocking opponents possibility to bet. When we are in position, we are ending the action. So if we have a kind of weak hand or like hand that needs protection, we are not blocking anything. We are just checking back and ending the street. So yeah, it's out of position, but it doesn't mean that you cannot use thin value bet in position. Out of position, since you can check and end the hand here while being input. Yeah, exactly. Thanks for the explanation, Kathan. All right. Yeah, I think we made the round. All right, last question. But I can use this exploit data to in position, I think. That's what I asked actually before. For example, should I more bluff turn with small sizing and also river when I'm aggressor? Yeah, this is basically another topic. But if you are playing low limits, you can basically bet any river with a small sizing, because you don't need enough for a lot of fold equity and should be profitable. But of course, we can do this as another topic, and using the range research to collect the data. Other situation, other data required. Yeah, exactly. All right. Yeah, then thanks everyone for being here. Hope you like this free session. Feel free to share your comment, ask your question in our Discord server. Anything needed, we are here for you to help you improve, and keep it up. See you next time. Bye bye, everyone. Thank you. Bye.